Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Beauty for Freedom Herstory Fireside Chat. I'm Monica Watkins. I'm the Executive Director of Beauty for Freedom, and we're an anti-trafficking organization that utilizes the transcendent quality of art and creativity to help survivors heal from the trauma of human trafficking.
And my name is Scarlett De La Torre, and I am a musician, activist, and Beauty for Freedom ambassador. And it's such an honor to host this event with you today, Monica. And I have been supporting Beauty for Freedom for the past 5 years as a teacher and volunteer and all the things, and fundraiser and advocate for the cause. It's so wonderful to be here with you today.
Yeah, thank you so much. We just want to also thank y'all for tuning in. It's going to be an incredible night. We also want to thank our sponsors, Red Pill VR, for this opportunity to share our story. And we also want to thank all of the volunteers, because this would not happen without our volunteers. Our amazing director, Jed, our incredible producers, Hannah and Drew. Thank you so much. I also want to thank our co-founder as well, Jerry Chu, for making this all possible. So yeah, sit back, relax, and please stay tuned for everything we have in store for you tonight. We put our heart and soul in this, and we really hope that you enjoy it.
A lot of people say, when you have been raped, why you don't tell? Who want to say it? You know, who want to care about that? And who understand about that? When I was in the battle, I tried many times to ask them help, but no one helped me. No one helped me. Before we see the trafficking is in front of us, but right now the trafficking is, really indirect. Every day I wake up, I see the young women and girls who are victims and survivors, who are close to me, like Sina Wang. I have a chance to sit down and working with them every day. So this is my courage.
For me, I guess my heart is to help the victim from sexual slavery, because where is my life is to empower victim to become survivor, but at the same time empower the survivor to be a part of solution. When I go to the center and asking my girl, what did they like? And they say, Mommy, I love painting, big art, because everything, I don't thinking much, I just put everything in the painting. All the painting that you teaching them, you participate with them, because it's not just going as a teacher, you're teaching them, but you all you put your heart in.
Art therapy sessions sometimes even help us with our narrative exposure therapy. For instance, a child has been sexually abused and he or she is not ready to talk about it. We just have to give a crayon and a paper, and in course of coloring, you'll be able to know that, okay, so this child has been through a lot of terrible experiences.
Remember, there is an issue of self-esteem. So this work with Beauty for Freedom, the art therapy, the art project, helps these children to have improved self-esteem, to hope and to dream.
The objective of Project India is to bring the arts and photography and all kinds of creative energy to children who have very little access to it, and to bring it to them in a way that they will never be separated from any of this. And I see value in that because I received that from my parents.
Nelson Mandela said, education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. You know, what you guys are creating is an education.
If you have a voice where other people do not, then you have to use your voice to defend those people.
It doesn't matter if I have on jeans, skinny jeans, a mini skirt, a bustier, a bikini, or I'm played out not wearing anything. It is not an invitation for rape.
I believe that we have such a huge voice to use. You know, we don't have to wait for the next best president or for the next great senator or government to change things for us. As creative beings, we have one of the biggest voices to change things, you know, and we have the power to be involved.
And with that, I would love to announce a musical guest, Dawn Redsun, LA-based singer and songwriter and queen. And here she is. Thank you so much, Dawn. That was Dawn Redsun. And be sure to check out her new single, I Am Alive, on Spotify. It is absolutely exquisite. Thank you, Dawn. We love you.
Thank you. And before we start this evening, I just wanted to, first of all, thank y'all for tuning in. Second of all, we're going to have a Q&A at the end of this Fireside Chat. And so you can send in questions. You can send in your chat questions on YouTube, on Twitch. Please submit your questions, anything that you want to ask us about human trafficking, about beauty for freedom, about the goddess that is Scarlet. Any questions you have, please start submitting them now, and we will get to those in the Q&A portion of this live stream. And it's also my pleasure, this beautiful woman sitting next to me here, I wanted to introduce our special guest panelist, who is Mrs. Anna Patak. She's been a dear friend and a mentor to our organization for many years, and I just have to kind of shout out the fact that a couple of our projects wouldn't even be in existence if she didn't mentor us and introduce us to the right organizations like Project Ghana, which is one of our biggest projects, and we've been able to work with like 500 youth in Ghana because of you introducing us to James Kofi Annan and to Challenging Heights. So thank you so much. You are an incredible policy consultant, and you're also an overcomer of human trafficking as well. So thank you so much for joining us this evening, Anna.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And yeah, I feel so blessed to be in the presence of both of you incredible women who have so many very different experiences in the anti-trafficking movement. So I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me this space to be here with you.
Always an honor, Monica.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Likewise.
Yeah, and so I guess we'll start off this evening with just a simple definition of human trafficking. And I'll just kind of throw it over to you, Anna.
Yeah, so when we talk about human trafficking, we're talking about the practice of exploiting adults and children for use of commodities or objects and conditions of sexual and labor servitude. So when we're talking about sex trafficking, we're also typically, when we're talking about from a legal perspective, under the age of 18 from a legal perspective. With labor trafficking, we don't have that age factor in the laws as they stand now. So just pointing out that part.
Awesome.
But yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. We have a few stats and figures that we want to start out with, just to kind of give everyone an idea of the scope and the magnitude of human trafficking. So I'll just start out, we'll do a few stats. There are over 40 million people, 40 million plus people who are enslaved in the world today. This is more slavery, this is more slaves than we've ever had in the history of humanity. Yeah. So if you think of that,
and the other thing we have to think about too with the statistics is that I was trafficked and I was never made a part of a survey or research, so we have to think about all the people we're missing. So the statistics say 40 million, but it can go.
Could be 80.
It could be it could be even more.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think also because of the hidden nature of human trafficking, and also it's not always beneficial for victims to come forward.
Yeah.
Because they might fear prosecution, they might fear sort of like society labeling them. There's so many different reasons why human trafficking isn't reported or it's underreported.
Yeah.
And our next stat. Slavery is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Human trafficking generates $150 billion annually. It's a big business.
Yeah.
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 It's insane. Yeah. And then slave owners prey on the poor and weak.
Absolutely. And there's 1 in 4 victims of forced labor slavery or human trafficking, labor trafficking, that is a child. So 1 in 4 victims is a child. You know, we kind of saw that a lot in Ghana when we worked there. Just seeing the magnitude of child labor trafficking on Lake Volta and seeing children as young as like 4, 5, 6 sold into slavery and like working on the lake as if they were like a grown man or a grown woman, you know? it was something that was really shocking to me to see. And it's part of the reason why we're committed to staying in that region and also expanding our work in the realm of child labor trafficking, because it's such an important thing that we do at Beauty for Freedom, and we want to expand on that. Yeah. So, art and music as healing modalities for survivors of trauma and human trafficking. Scarlett, I'd love to get you to kind of open up about your work as a Beauty for Freedom ambassador and also as a teaching volunteer. You've also been a teaching volunteer on other missions as well. Mm-hmm. But how have you come to see that music and the work that you're doing around sound healing has been beneficial to the youth that we serve and other youth that you've served?
Yeah, well, I have to thank you so much for bringing me into this work, because when we started working together in New York City, I was only really doing fundraisers and DJing and throwing events and things like this. So for my first mission in Calcutta, as you remember, it was kind of coming very close to the time, and I'd never done something like this before, and I was kind of getting a little bit of anxiety, and I was thinking, oh, am I even qualified to do this work? I've never worked with children before. Do I even know how to teach music? Like, I know how to do music, but I actually sat in meditation. Actually, I listened to a Deva Premal song, and I was just meditating on asking the divine to show me a sign. And I remember specifically asking for a clear sign. And so I did this meditation, sort of like meditating, like, should I do this mission? Is it in the highest alignment for me to do so? Will it be supported? And as soon as I opened my eyes, I see I was on a flight, and so my landing card had landed on the floor. And the words on this landing card were, "Fight against human trafficking." So that's when I knew. I asked for a clear sign, and that's when I knew that it was all systems go to Calcutta. And I'm so glad that I went, because it was actually here that I discovered my gift for teaching. And so now I'm teaching, in my school, the Aha Sound Sanctuary. So I actually discovered my Dharma on this mission. So now a really big part of my work is serving others with trauma. And one of the things I always suggest is, if you're going through something, go and be of service, because there's an alchemy that happens in that space, and you're likely to find something that will heal you in that space. So it was here at New Light Calcutta that I discovered the healing, just the capability of music. It really somatically takes the trauma out of a body for a moment when people are in song. So I actually discovered sound healing on this mission, and it was just such a beautiful mission. One of the most beautiful experiences was dropping in with the girls before we even presented the instruments to them. And so one of the visualizations, one of the wildest dreams from these girls is one of them was talking about, it was her dream to play the piano. It was like one of the biggest dreams, and she described this dream that she was having, taking her mother by the hand and leading her into a room in their house, and there's a piano there, and she's learning how to play it. And the next day is when we donated these instruments. And so it was here that I realized that this work is like, we're making, by leaning into service, you are making someone else's dream come true. So that's a really big thing that I learned from these missions. So thank you, Monica, for having me.
I think that when we have these missions, we kind of go in expecting that, okay, we're gonna serve. We're gonna, we've committed to live this portion of our lives in service. But what we don't realize is that what we get out of the experience is serving us in such a way that it transforms us sometimes more than we could have ever expected, like changing our lives forever, Bless you. No, it's, I think that mission in particular, I think opened us all up to something really special. And it transformed me, and it was, one of the reasons why I wanted to commit to doing more in India as well, because I just never realized that there were red light districts like that. I just didn't know, you know, and
it was heavy.
Yeah, it was so heavy. Like there were some days coming back from the mission that I found myself unable to breathe, you know.
And it's really interesting because I'm from Calcutta. Yeah, so wasn't trafficked there, I was trafficked in the States. Different story for later. But yeah, it's just I don't know, your heart just breaks. And I think about like my paperwork says young unmarried woman was my mom. I was adopted into the States. And so I think about all of the things that young girls go through, young boys go through over there. And it's just, it breaks your heart. It truly breaks your heart.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's with help from our supporters, specifically people that are watching this live stream. We will be able to expand that mission in India. We'll be able to expand our mission in Ghana. We'll be able to expand our missions here in the US. So your donations really, really matter. And when we tell these stories, you know, just take a moment to put yourself in that position of us going in kind of blind, learning so much. It, you know, creates this possibility for so much transformation, and it's such a blessing, you know. So I thank everybody who has donated, those who will, and I just kind of, you know, put it out there for those that haven't. Please think about, you know, how art or music has transformed your life and what it's done for you, and then think about what that could do for someone that's suffering trauma, you know. One thing that we speak about all the time, Anna, and you've taught me so much about this one subject, is the intersectionality of human trafficking and pornography. So I'd love for you to, because I think that people just don't know. They don't understand how they are like a call and a response to one another. They don't understand how it's hurting anyone. So I just wanted you, because you're an expert in that field, to kind of speak on that, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So there is a huge link between pornography and human trafficking, and people think, oh, pornography is just such an innocent thing. These girls or boys, because I think we forget to include boys in the conversations about sex trafficking a lot, and the boys and the girls who are being filmed, they may not want to be there. You may think they do, and they may not want to be there. But then we also have a few different issues. When someone is being filmed like commercial sex acts is being filmed, and then it's profited off of, there's the exploitation. But when, like, say they don't want to be there, then there's that commercial element, and so therefore it becomes trafficking because you're profiting off of their commercial sex act. And so we have that issue, but then we also have how it drives demand. And so what some people don't know is how, when you're watching pornography, the way that your brain responds to watching pornography is the same thing the same things that go on your brain as when you're doing drugs. So it's like a drug. And when people watch pornography, they might start off with soft porn. And then, you know, they're like, oh, it's just not enough. Just like when you do drugs, you're like, I need something else to get that fix. I need something else. So eventually they start watching more hardcore porn. And then that's not enough. Then they're like, well, you know what? They become so desensitized, they want to buy a person. And then we have that, and we get with these older ages and of when they're buying, and then eventually they're like, 16-year-old's not doing it for me anymore. I need a 13-year-old. And then we get to the point where we have pornography with babies, or people purchasing babies for sex. And so there's a huge fuel and demand. So we have all of those. And then just like my own experience, I was trafficked in North Carolina. And as a high school teenager, I met my trafficker at a movie theater I was working at, and he was like, oh, you know, I could teach you to play guitar for free, because he heard about my love for music. And I was like, okay, free, you know, high schoolers' favorite words. And so we started these lessons, and he tried to like romance me, and I had a lot of worth issues. I just wanted to be loved. I wanted to be, you know, I wanted to be loved by somebody. And so it didn't matter that it was a 40-year-old guy and I'm a teenager. And so I ended up starting a relationship with him, and then eventually moving in with him. And when we moved in together, he started like asking me to be a part of his art project. And all that mattered to me was that you know, someone found me beautiful and all of that. And so we started this art project, and everything was, I guess, normal pictures. And then they became more sexual in nature. And I remember I was in the kitchen and I saw his calendar, and it had tally marks on it. And the tally marks, I was like, what is this? He's like, oh, it's how many times we've made love. And I was like, okay. It didn't make me think he might be running a business. I just didn't know. So this all went on for about a year and a half. There were times I'd wake up, I didn't know what had happened to me. I would be naked on the kitchen floor, and he'd just be like, oh, you were sleepwalking. And I was like, okay, I just believed him. And so this again went on for about a year and a half. And then one day he started talking about wanting to get married. I'm in high school still. And I swear my strong-willed personality saved me. I was like, I don't want to marry this guy. And so this is before like social media and things like that, where it's easier to find someone. And so there was a girl at work who needed a roommate, so I started moving stuff to her place behind the scenes. And one day I got fired from the theater. Again, there's no social media. He couldn't find me. He kept asking everybody, like, where is Anna? Where is Anna? And they're like, we don't know, because it was weird. He was trying to find me. And that was that. Well, then a few years later, I meet up with some of the girls from the movie theater. And they were just like, Anna, he keeps trying to get girls to pose nude and do this. And I was like, wait, that was our special thing. Why would he do that with someone else? I just didn't understand. So then if 2009 happens, and found out he died of colon cancer. And the first thing I wanted to do was like, I need to get those pictures back. I'm like, there's probably like 20 of them, you know, like, I don't know how many there were. And so I was like, went to his family member at the funeral, and I said, I have some stuff at the house I'd like to get, because he'd been taking me around as his girlfriend. I was going to high school, like I was out and about and stuff. So she was like, I have what you're looking for. And she's like, they're in my safe, we'll meet up later. I was like, okay. So we met up a couple months later, and she gave me this huge box. I was like, what is in this box? Like, what did I leave there? And I get home and I open it, and that's when I found out he mass produced them. I did not understand. I was like, why would he mass produce these? This was our special project. Like, I didn't understand. And I just left it there. And then a few years later, I watched the movie Taken. And I was like, oh, human trafficking, this is interesting, intriguing. It's overseas, it doesn't happen here, you know. And then I learned more and more, and then I learned about pornography and what it can look like as a form of sex trafficking, and that's when it hit me with what happened. So it was devastating at first, but I'm very thankful for all the steps that I've taken to get healing and found my way. So, yeah.
And thank you so much for sharing that. I know it's not easy, you know, and we never want to ever make you feel like it's something that you have to do. Yeah. I think by you sharing your story is definitely a way to share so that other people can identify certain things that are happening in their lives and take action as well. Like you had to see that movie to understand that this is what happened to you, and you're not even fully processed or even nearly healed from that situation, you know?
I actually identified because I read a story in a newspaper, and it was like, young girl met older guy asked girl to do art project, and I went through, I was like, this is trafficking? I thought it's just what you see in like Taken or these huge blockbuster movies, which are so great because they get people interested in the topic. But when I really got to look at what it really looks like, it was definitely a very overwhelming feeling that day.
Yeah. But you took a proactive role in healing and helping yourself to heal, and then you took it a step further, and then another step further, which is becoming an advocate and a voice in the movement, and then also being able to support like strong policy around ending human trafficking in the United States. Like, how did you find the will to be able to do that?
I think I've always had a desire to help people, And I've always loved to teach. I feel like we're so similar in so many ways. So I just, I don't know, I think that it came from that. And then I launched a fashion collection at New York Fashion Week with like a brand that works with overcomers of human trafficking in Nepal. And so using that creative side, I always joke that I'm like the Indian version of Legally Blonde without the law degree. But because I do work with policy and I do work with like ethical fashion and stuff. So it's been such an honor and a privilege to help other people and to be that voice. And, you know, and then I have like an amazing husband now who loves me somehow, you know, but to be able to show that to people and be like, you know, you can have this, you can have a beautiful relationship after these things, you can live in your freedom and make a difference.
Yeah. Well, thank you for all you do for others and all you've done for us, because you're like an extremely selfless person, which is, you know, what made me like fall in love with you when we met. I'm like, she is always doing for others before she would do anything for herself, you know. You know, I want to kind of address how we in society can make a change to eradicate human trafficking. It's not always about policy, even though you do work on policy, but we spoke about this before, which is, you know, even if you have policy in place, if you don't have any law body or, you know, it's like local government to execute those laws or that policy, it kind of falls through the cracks. So you could have the laws, but they're not being acted upon, and so you don't really see this positive effect or this change happening. You know, how can we come together with community organizers, policymakers, police, and other relevant stakeholders to contribute into making a dent in this human trafficking war?
I think the big key theme is accountability. And so I think there's a few different places in accountability that we need to see. One, we really need to be holding men to a higher standard. Okay. I think that that's really, really important, because if we raise boys to become men who are going to advocate for women, who are going to respect women, who are not going to buy sex, who understand that watching porn harms people, there is harm in that. And I think that's really, really important. As you know, when people are always like, oh, female empowerment, and I'm like, yeah, but we have to make sure we make men a part of that as well in order. I mean, I just think that that's really, really important. I think also putting accountability on our purchase. And so if you're new to this whole term ethical fashion, you know, when we're talking about ethical fashion, we're talking about where people are paid fairly, or the fabric is fair trade, you know, it's slavery free, things like that. That's what we would love to see. But what we're seeing is this huge amount of capital in places that have what's the word, these, I've just lost my train of thought. Yeah,
happens to me all the time.
Yeah, but when we have just like these places, I don't know if I can say brand names, but you know, just these huge fashion companies and whatnot who aren't paying their workers fairly, and so we have these, you know, slave labor when it comes to different like clothing brands and stuff.
Yeah. So. I think we were talking about that, and it's not just clothing brands. It's cocoa, it's coffee. It's, you know, every item that you could be purchasing at a store has a slavery footprint. You know, it starts somewhere. We were talking about that as well. People say, you know what? How can I measure the harm that I'm doing in the world? Because, you know, acknowledgement is first, and then education is second, and then action is third. Moving towards action, when you're educated and you know what you've been doing, you can stop it, you know?
Yeah.
That's why I love, and Jed, if you can pull up the Slavery Footprint website. It's a website that was created by Justin Dillon from Made in a Free World, an incredible philanthropist, an incredible voice in the anti-trafficking movement. But you can actually calculate your slavery footprint, what harm you're doing, and you can change it, which is awesome. I think it's a great tool to use. So, you know, if you get a chance, we'll put the link in and have you actually click on that, and you can learn more about your slavery footprint, and you can learn more about the products that you're investing in, and then you can make some changes. These are simple things that we can do to lessen our slavery footprint and to also create a better world, you know? Kind of want to move over to you, Queen Scarlett. Queen, you know, your work in this field of sound healing and transformation that can, you know, come from this spiritual movement. You know, what has your path kind of been like with this work in this field? What have some of the most transformative experiences doing this work? What have they been?
Just being with the students, like being in the room with the students at New Light was just so transformative for me, because it was healing for me to be in that environment of just being able to present my natural gifts and being able to share that with others who were in a pretty dark place. You know, Caligat is a pretty, like, it was really heavy. I mean, this was my first experience you know, doing this kind of work. So bringing light into a situation like this is something that really impacted me, because if it's, for me, it's like, if I think about if we could all just be that light in a dark place, what impact that would have on the world. So immediately after our mission, I signed on to do another mission, a refugee mission. Actually, I went to Thessaloniki to volunteer at El Pita Home. And so that work actually spiraled into that work. And then also I started the Aha Sound Sanctuary in the pandemic, where I'm just like, all right, I got to pull my gifts together so that people can heal through this moment. And so I started a musical mystery school to teach others about how to heal themselves through sound, how to meditate, how to use the language of music in order to open up the neural pathways that promote neurogenesis. I mean, that's what healing is. It's about healing trauma. So yeah, it's been a really beautiful journey, Monica. So thank you so much for having me. But yeah, like I'm really looking forward to our next mission.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that too. And speaking of our next mission, we have a mission coming up in the beginning of the year, and we're going to do Project Mexico.
Yes.
So,
it's a place very close to my heart.
Yes. You've spent way more time in Mexico than I have, but you've been able to see probably the tinges of human trafficking there, or have heard about it, you know. What was your inspiration? Because you reached out to me and said, we have to do a mission in Mexico.
Yeah.
And I, you know, it's like we had been focusing on Ghana and, you know, focusing on the US, and then the pandemic hit and everything went wobbly upside down, you know, and we were trying to like find our feet again in our missions. And, you know, a lot of organizations went through some major dark times in the last 2 years. And so you kind of inspired me to kind of think of, okay, how are we going to dig ourselves out of this hole of just being insular, you know, and doing things online, which doing things online is amazing, but we're a boots on the ground organization, you know?
I mean, the in-person experience is just, you know, you can't get that over Zoom. Although, you know, talking about, you know, creating some sort of platform where we can serve many shelters at one time is really exciting. So I'm really excited to plant that seed about that mission with this work. And so the inspiration for Mexico just came. I mean, I've spent so much time in Mexico, and I'm performing at Onda Linda in Careyes soon, and it's just a place that I've just ended up over and over and over, and so it just came to, I just got this intuitive hit one day, and I was just like, it's time to go to Mexico. And I have allies down there, as you know. My Burning Man Camp Lagrange is, you know, they're all from Mexico, so it's been really wonderful to have guidance in that community of, like, you know, where to go and what to do. And and plus a lot of the songs that I sing are in Spanish, so I have a lot of songs to teach our students when we go.
I'm so excited about this. Like, you have no idea. It's it's an expansion when I thought that we wouldn't be expanding. You know, it's like coming right out of this crisis that we're actually kind of still in, but moving into like expanding and adding another mission to our Bay of Missions. I'm really grateful for you. I'm grateful to you for bringing this project to us, and doing this together feels so incredible. So thank you so much for that. Amazing. I know. Yeah. I'm excited. So once again, please donate because your funds will go towards our mission in Mexico as well. You know, and just speaking from personal experience, I've had many forms of therapy throughout my life. And art therapy has been one form of therapy that I've had that was so powerful and so effective in helping me heal from my own personal trauma, that was part of the reason why we wanted to infuse that into our programming, our curricula, everything that we do at Beauty for Freedom. It's about creativity as a tool to empower and transcend. And one thing that we've seen a lot with the survivors that we serve is that and with myself personally, I know from experience, it's not always easy to be able to share your truth or what you've been through, speaking words, because words don't seem expansive enough sometimes. And with creativity, with, you know, paint on a canvas or with a song in your heart, those are things that expand our human form of communication. It's like
it's harmony.
Yeah, it's harmony. It's this vibration, you know? And so, you know, there have been so many experiences that I've had working with the survivors that we serve all over the world that have made me just say, you know what, this is why we do what we do. You know, we just had a mission 2 years ago, and eventually I want to introduce y'all to Shannon and Travis, who are two more of our ambassadors that are here this evening. They'll come on and say a few words at the end of this fireside chat. But we had an incredible experience working with survivors from Dallas, Texas, and I'm a Texas native. Shannon and Travis are Texans as well, so it's like very near and dear to my heart to go there. But to see how the art transformed these young women was something so powerful. Hearing them speak about 2 years later, after we did the workshop and actually had the exhibition, that their lives were set on a different course from that day that we started creating till today, like blew my mind. So it's such a powerful form of healing, and I just feel so grateful to have the opportunity to have created this organization with that in mind, you know? Just asking each one of you personally, what was one moment where creativity helped you to heal from trauma? I know it's going off the page, I'm sorry. Didn't put it on the notes. But if you don't mind speaking to that, if it's not too personal.
I don't, I know in the program, I went through a program called Mercy Multiplied, and that's a program that I went through to really like get the roots down on working through my healing. And we did a lot of painting, and it's just so, I don't know what it is, just stroking the brush is just so therapeutic, and nothing beautiful came from it. I was just, I thought that was just so therapeutic. I don't know what it is about putting something on a canvas. But then the other part is, like I said, I did work for like New York Fashion Week, but I collaborate with different ethical fashion brands, and it's really helped me use my voice and help express myself. And is through fashion and through creativity. I just think it's so much fun, and it helps me learn more about myself and more about what I don't know, what I believe in, and it really just helps me grow my voice and use my voice. I can't explain it. It's just, I don't know. I think when creativity really fuels you, you don't have to explain it, you just do it, kind of thing.
I mean, that's the coolest part about it.
Yeah.
What about you, Scarlett?
Well, I have had my own experiences of sexual trauma as a child, and so singing and music and creativity is the thing that really helps me to just reconnect with my essence. It's just something that's always been a form of of therapy for me. And so the way that that's unfolded since I've done this work, I mean, my life has changed since we worked together in Calcutta, you know, and so knowing that that gift has worked for me, being able to share that with others, I mean, it's just like I really feel like I have fully stepped into my dharma by being of service. You know, it's like a really big piece to my healing was art and creativity, you know, for myself, but being able to share that with other people is just like, whew, it's just like the most beautiful alchemical process that's happened in my life. So
I loved when you said that when you're going through something, to step into your service is a way. I mean, you don't do it for the purpose of, okay, I'm going to step into my healing, but that's what ends up happening is, you know, you're serving others, you're utilizing your gifts, and then you end up healing from that. Like, how awesome is that?
Yeah,
you know,
it's the best.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that statement because I actually had a friend who told me that, you know, when you're going through your darkest hour, think about giving back in some way. It might seem completely impossible to do, or to like go so deep in your spirit and like be able to outpour something for somebody else, but it's truly like one of the only ways we can really transcend and heal from our own trauma as well.
Yeah, imagine if everyone did that in the world right now with what everyone's going through.
Oh my gosh.
Just imagine.
Step outside of yourself. Do something for somebody else.
Yeah.
I think that was such a cool statement. Yeah, and speaking of that, Jed, if you don't mind playing, we have a testimony from one of the survivors that we worked with in Dallas, and we're so grateful for her voice in this. So
it is like a visual testimony of my story. I was in trafficking for 4 years. I was a heroin addict and a cocaine addict. And my piece that I did today is a bird rising from the flames, and it has a gold crown on its head, which is, to me, is the crown of life. Like rising from death. I was living in death. I'm a whole new person now. So for me to make that visual testimony was really empowering for me. It was nice to mingle with other survivors. The whole energy and the synergy in the room was all of us kind of working together in like a group, and you know, the feedback and the encouragement to one another. I think that was all part of it.
So we're back, and it's time for our Q&A portion. There are a few questions that came in, and people don't want their names acknowledged. So we're going to go to one question. You know, I've been trafficked. What do I do? Or I think I've been trafficked. What do I do? I can't really answer that question. I mean, you're the expert.
Oh,
you
gosh.
know?
That was a day when I realized it. If you've been trafficked, I think one great thing to do is look at different nonprofits in your area that work with overcomers or survivors. I just want to say I think survivors is a great term as well. You may hear me say overcomer, but I think survivor is an amazing thing to say as well. So,
I'm a survivor.
Yeah, and so I think that looking at different nonprofits, you can contact Beauty for Freedom. I'm sure they have different referrals they could put you in touch with. But if you're just someone who's watching this and maybe you heard my story and it clicked and you're just like, wait a second, I didn't realize that was a form of trafficking, or you've seen these testimonies and stuff, and that's a really great place to start, is definitely calling nonprofits in your area, or you can contact Beauty for Freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have a lot of partnerships with other nonprofits, and we've worked with other advocates for other nonprofits. We worked with an advocate from an amazing organization out here in California called Cast LA.
Aren't they the best?
They're the best. Ima Matul.
They are the
who's
best.
Like one of my favorite people. We've worked with her, and she's been a part of an event. We flew her out to New York for that event, and they're just a wealth of information, and they're always accessible to help, and they pick up the phone. You know?
They have the National Survivor Network. I'm in that. And so they have a lot of resources, a lot of resources, a community where you can find people who are like you, but they might have different mentorship options, like just lots of different resources for healing and for professional growth as well.
Awesome. And for those that have RSVP'd for this event, I'll be sending out an email to everyone with a list of resources, specifically in New York, Los Angeles, and Texas. Resources, amazing, amazing organizations that you can reach out to if you feel like you've been trafficked, or even if you just want to learn more about human trafficking, or even if you just want to volunteer in your area. We have Traffic 911 in Dallas. That's an incredible organization run by a super cool lady, Lindsay Speed. And so that's always a resource for those of you in Texas. In New York, we have Safe Horizon. They're dope. We've worked with them forever.
They were who I called when I realized what had been going on with me.
Wow.
I called Safe Horizon, and then they put me in touch with someone in North Carolina. And so, so they were the people that connected me with the person who helped me.
That's incredible. I love them. I love them. We've worked with them for years during Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
That's so easy.
Yeah. So we'll have a list of resources. And if you have any questions that we haven't answered here tonight, you can always email us at info@beautyforfreedom.org. We have another question that came through. Ashley P. Where can I find updated information about this topic so I can stay educated? Right? Ashley, you can actually email us directly and we can send you a list of incredible resources. So email us at info@beautyforfreedom.org. I'm Monica Watkins, once again, co-founder of Beauty for Freedom. I'm here to answer any questions anytime. You can always email me and I'll always respond and get whatever information or resources I have to you. Skylar W., where can we donate? Okay, this is a great question. Yay! Where can we donate? There's so many ways to donate. You can go to our Instagram right now. You can click on the link in our bio. We also have a fundraiser that's going on. Drew Aaron has created a fundraiser for us. Thank you so much, Drew. Our beautiful and amazing producer of this event.
The best.
The best. Drew, you can donate there. You can also go to our website. We have a donate button on every page, so you can't miss it. Can't miss the donate button.
And we have an auction happening.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, can we talk? Can we?
Art auction we curated.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have, Scarlett, I don't know if you want to just expand.
I would love to. I'm so excited about this auction. Oh my God. So we have an auction on Artsy. And I'm actually launching my first NFT in collaboration with Kayla Silber. So we've made a canvas for this. So this will not be on Artsy because it's an NFT that has a canvas attached to it. So we'll be launching that. And we also have works from Dual Diagnosis, which is Dave Navarro of Jane's Addiction, which I was obsessed with in high school, and Padia. And they've donated an incredible piece on acrylic that is up on the Artsy auction already. And then some friends of mine. So Olivia Steele and Rachel T. Harris have donated works as well as Travis and Punk Me Tender, which I actually want that art piece for myself because it's so beautiful. But yeah, definitely check out the auction on Artsy. And
yes. So we also have Not.Travis, Thanks So. We're going to actually bring them on in a couple of minutes. Yes. But I also want to get to a few more of the other questions. I've been through something and I'm not sure how to express it. Any suggestions?
Counseling?
That's a great question by Brittany S.
Yeah, I don't know what something is, but just know you're not alone and you are so brave for saying that you've been through something. So that's the first thing. And then counseling is a great place to start. Or finding a safe friend to maybe talk your thoughts out with, or go get a canvas, get some paint, and start putting some artwork down. I mean, there's just so many different ways, but I think you are so brave and so powerful for just saying, I've been through something, because a lot of people don't have that kind of strength.
Yeah. I think that, sometimes, and it's not always the case, but it often is the case, sometimes our families aren't the most supportive, and it's the thing that's the saddest.
Yeah.
I feel really blessed because I have
You have a great family.
Yeah, my family is so bomb. You know, they're awesome. I come from a family of activists, and you know, we were always like super emotional with each other, like all of us. And you know, it's like we can cry together, we can pray together, we can scream together, you know, all of those things. But many families aren't like that. And you know, to have a family that doesn't back you up, sometimes it feels the opposite of empowering, you know?
I understand. Yeah. I understand.
So there's certain people that are going through situations like that, and sometimes it's a hotline, you know? Sometimes it's a hotline, because sometimes we can actually choose our family through speaking with others that have also been through similar situations as well.
I think it's a great opportunity for them to reach out to you to see if they you can put them in touch with the right people.
Yeah, absolutely.
The right resource that works for their, you know, their journey.
Yeah. And we've done that. It's like we've done several referrals, and you know, thank God there's so many amazing organizations out there for us to kind of pick and choose from in different regions. So please, once again, reach out to us, info@beautyforfreedom.org, if you have questions, if you need a referral. We're here to support and help. And then one last question as well. How can someone volunteer or be of service to BFF? Well, we need help. We always need support. If you're interested in volunteering, once again, you can email me, info@beautyforfreedom.org. I always like to set up conference calls because I love to feel someone's energy out, get their life experiences, learn more about the person, what they're passionate about, to see how we can place them in service for Beauty for Freedom and for the survivors that we serve. So that's always, you know, we're always open to that, and we always need support. So info@beautyforfreedom.org.
And a way that you can always support is by sharing fundraisers, by sharing on social media. If you guys know any art collectors, you know, send them to the artsy auction. There's always room for sharing for what we're up to. And always check into the website as well, beautyforfreedom.org. The updated information is always there. So share. It's a great way to help.
And the other thing to remember is that people sometimes are like, oh, I'm just one person, what can I really do? And like, there's so much power with just one person. You can really, really make a difference. So don't discount yourself if you think, oh, I'm just one person. No, you could always get maybe a group of your girlfriends together and, I don't know, contact Beauty for Freedom and make certain gifts that they can take to the survivors. I mean, there's just so many different ways. Give up your coffee one day a week and donate.
I know, that's so hard.
That's a hard one.
That's hard.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe don't buy. Maybe say no to the slice of cake that you want to buy, and be like, I'm gonna take that money for my slice of cake and I'm gonna donate it to Beauty for Freedom. Just little things.
Just little things.
You know.
Yeah.
So, every little helps.
Yeah. Every little helps.
Awesome. And before we end the night, once again, I want to thank everyone who's tuning in, and I also want to thank Red Pill VR, and I also would love to invite Laurent, if he's here, to come and say a few words. He can. So Red Pill VR is this incredible space that we're in right now, and I just wanted to save some space for Laurent to kind of speak to more about this space, and also the fact that they've done so much for us, even in this short amount of time. Please come. Sit on my couch. No, I mean, sit on your couch. Thank you so much for having us in this space.
Of course.
Thank you so much for being so generous of heart and for donating this space, and also, teaching us more about the world of VR, which I didn't know anything about, but it's so cool.
Well, I mean, I'm really glad I could be of assistance. I've been a good friend of Scarlett for many years, and your cause is definitely heartfelt. So if I can help, more than happy to.
Thank you.
And
so
maybe
much.
we could take it inside the virtual world.
That would be so cool. Can you talk a bit about Red Pill VR for people that don't know?
Sure. I mean, we love to go to music festivals, and it's always something that's a big undertaking. We have to go to Burning Man or these other places, and we love to do that, but it's once a year. we want to create a complete virtual world where you could jump into that energy, that beauty from anywhere on the planet from home in VR. So you have an avatar and you jump into this musical metaverse, if you will. And so we build the technology, the content to make that possible.
Yeah, that's so cool. I got a little bit of a taste of it yesterday, and I was like a dancing queen over here. I'm like,
it's a lot
just
of fun.
To see you like demo this incredible movement that you've created here, I'm like so blown away. I'm not tech savvy, or my brain doesn't even work like that, but putting those goggles on, like stepping into that, like I felt like I was a part of it, you know?
The whole point of this technology is ultimately for the tech to go away, to have a natural interface, the way we interact with, you know, our biology into the physical world, but inside a synthetic computer-generated world that really cuts time, space barriers and puts you into a world that's filled with imagination and art.
That's so cool.
So that's the idea. You don't want it to be something that's technical. You want it to be something that's organic.
Yeah. And speaking of creativity, because that's a huge part of our platform as well, creativity to heal, like what, you know, how has creativity shaped your life?
Well, you know, I've gone to Burning Man for 15 years in a row. It changed my life. It really connects me to art in a way that is not necessarily present in my day-to-day, until I started Red Pill, which was really a way for me to start to bring my technical background, my work in virtual reality and music and art in one company and start to build what that looks like in the future. So, you know, now it's really exciting to be running a team of artists and to be connected to that community of digital content creation that's really taking art into a fully immersive, interactive, kind of next gen phase. So I'm very happy about that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and once again for your generosity, you know, just giving us carte blanche of your space. I'm sure you weren't expecting all this.
This is amazing.
But we're so grateful to you. Thank you so much, and you know, we're just really looking forward to tomorrow's event as well, which is an art exhibit.
Please support. Please support. That's all I have to say.
Awesome.
Thank you guys
so much.
Okay.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
So I'm going to share one of the songs that was present on our mission, and it's a Beyonce song, and this song brought so much joy to the hearts of the girls that we were serving, so I'm going to share it with you today.
Remember those balls I've been, baby, that tumbling down. Didn't even put up a fight, didn't even make a sound. Found a way to let you in, but I never really had a doubt. Standing in the light of my halo, got my angel now. I've been awakened, every rule I had to break it. It's a risk that I'm taking. I ain't never gonna shut you out. Everywhere I'm looking now, I'm surrounded by your embrace. Baby, I can see your halo, where you won't fade away. You're everything I need and more. It's written all over your face. Baby, I can feel your halo. Know you're my saving shut you out. Everywhere I'm looking now, I'm surrounded by your embrace. Maybe I can feel your halo, but you won't fade away. You're everything I need and more. It's written all over your face. Maybe I can feel your halo. Girl, you're my saving grace. Halo, I can feel your halo. Halo, I can feel your halo. Halo, I can feel your halo.
Last but not least, I'd love to bring on Travis and Shannon as well. So y'all have artwork in this exhibition, and we have this exhibition tomorrow night. But beyond that, you're both ambassadors for Youth for Freedom, and you're also volunteer teaching instructors. So I'd love for you to, you also brought some incredible artists to the table for this exhibition. So I'd love for you to first talk about what people can expect when they come to see this exhibition. And then I'll move on from there. We'll talk a little bit about that.
For me personally, I think some of the artists, other artists, are created in the moment. It's one thing that I enjoy about art. It's kind of an escape for me around nothing else matters, and just kind of get things out, and then you have something to take away from that moment that you were at peace, or it was crazy, and the piece looks crazy, but it's something that's captured, and it's a nice release.
I think, yeah, same for me. That's why I got into art in the first place. And I think that's why all of the artists that are exhibiting for tomorrow's show wanted to be involved too, because this is for such a good cause, and we all feel the same way that art is so therapeutic, you know, in all different walks of life, but specifically for this cause, you know, there's so much value there. So I think Travis did such a great job of bringing like these friends of his in that are also, you know, really big name artists that you know, want to support this just like we do. So
no hesitation.
Yeah.
We want to thank Dual Diagnosis as well, Dave and Pahia. We also want to thank Punk New Tender as well. And I wanted to thank y'all so much for being a part of this, and for, you know, everybody who's out there, who's in the greater Los Angeles area tomorrow evening, 7 to 10. You can RSVP at the link in our Instagram bio. You have to RSVP to get in, and we will be asking for donations. That's just what it is, right? Because, you know, we're trying to do something here. But we want everybody to come out and be able to see this incredible body of work. It's just breathtaking. I'm looking at it right now. Y'all saw it when you saw the musical performances tonight. And you'll see it again in just a couple of minutes when we have our last performance of the night. But thank y'all so much for who you are, what you do. Thank you for everything that you've devoted to the youth that we serve. It's, you know, it's not for the faint of heart. Travis was with us on Lake Volta. That was a really hard trip because we got to see human trafficking, child labor trafficking on the lake firsthand, hear the stories, and, you know, when you're in the trenches and you're doing this work, you don't often expect that you'll see things like that.
We want to thank you, too, for always continuing and pushing on and making these events happen, and continuing the education and the therapy session. So always thank you.
It's a team effort. It's not, you know, one person or one thing. And I also want to thank my co-founder over here, who's also my partner, aka husband, Jerry Chu, who's always devoted and giving up his time to serve and support. So thank you so much, Jerry, as well. I'm grateful. Thank you for marrying me as well. Yeah, I think the call to action here is if you want to volunteer, if you want to donate, you can always go to our website. You can always email me, info@beautyforfreedom.org. I'm very hands-on. I will contact you back, and it's me. We're always looking for donations, volunteer sponsorships. I believe that we're a worthy cause because I know that the youth that we serve, the survivors that we serve, are worthy human beings. So that's, what it is. And I think that we're going to move into our last performance of the evening. And I also want to thank, I'd love to thank Ms. Anna Patak. I'd also like to thank her partner, her husband as well, for supporting and being here. And we're going to have this beautiful last performance by Scarlett de la Torre, our queen. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in.